Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Madan Mohan, Radha, Madan Mohan, Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha, Jagannatha, Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jai Gauranta, 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 Jai Gauranta. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. God, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Praviraj Gacchari Stotra Sada Shri Srimadi's Divine Grace Labai Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Praviraj Gacchari Stotra Sada Shri Srimadi's Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदीप श्री मायापुर धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माँ यमुना माँ की जय। वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Distribution की जाए। The most merciful Lordship Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan Sri Sri Gaunita Sri Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani की जाए। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जाए। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Shaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, entitled Talks Between Narada and King Prachina Barhi, text number 7. You can get a lot of peace, I think, if we put off the fans. So much sound, huh? Now a lot of difference. Bruhad Balam Manovidya. Bruhad Balam Manovidya. Ubhayendriya Nayake. Ubhayendriya Nayakam. Panchala Pancha Vishaya. Panchala Pancha Vishaya. Yanmadhye Navakham Puram. Yanmadhye Navakham Puram. Bruhadbalam Manovidya. Ubhayendriya Nayakam. Panchala Pancha Vishaya. Yanmadhye Navakham Puram. Jai Shri Shri Gaunita Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Bruhad Balam Manovidya. Ubhayendriya Nayakam. Panchala Pancha Vishaya. Yanmadhye Navakham Puram. बृहद्बलं मनोविद्या उभयेन्द्रियनायकम् पंचाला पंच विषया यन्मध्ये नवखं पुरम् बृहद्बलं मनोविद्या उभयेन्द्रियनायकम् पंचाला पंच विषया यन्मध्ये नवखं पुरम् बृहद्बलं मनोविद्या उभयेन्द्रियनायकम् पांचाला पंच विषया यन्मध्ये नवखं पुरम्. Any Matajis? उभयेन्द्रियनायकम् पंचाला पंच विषया यन्मध्ये नवखं पुरम् बृहद्बलं मनोविद्या उभयेन्द्रियनायकम् पांचाला पंच विषया यन्मध्ये नवखं पुरम्. बृहद्बलं, very powerful. Manaha, the mind. Vidya, one should know. Ubhaya Indriya are both groups of senses. Nayakam, the leader. Panchala, the kingdom named Panchala. Pancha, 5. Vishaya, sense objects. Yet, of which Madhye, in the midst, Navakham, having nine apertures, Puram, the city. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation: the 11th attendant, who is the commander of the others, is known as the mind. He is the leader of the senses, both in the acquisition of knowledge and in the performance of work. The Panchala kingdom is that atmosphere in which the 5 sense objects are enjoyed. Within that Panchala kingdom is the city of the body, which has 9 gates. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The mind is the center of all activities and is described here as Bruhad Bala, very powerful. To get out of the clutches of Maya, material existence, one has to control his mind. According to training, the mind is the friend and the enemy of living entity. If one gets a good manager, his estate is very nicely managed. But if the manager is a thief, his estate is spoiled. Similarly, in his material conditional existence, the living entity gives power of attorney to his mind. As such, he is liable to be misdirected by his mind into enjoying sense objects. Srila Ambarish Maharaj therefore first engaged the mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord. Savai Manah Krishna Padara Vindayo. When the mind is engaged in meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord, the senses are controlled. This system of control is called Yama, and this means subduing the senses. One who can subdue the senses is called a Goswami, but one who cannot control the mind is called Godas. The mind directs the activities of the senses, which are expressed through different outlets as described in the next verse. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंगायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणाम्। Srila Prabhupada, he always emphasized the most practical things for his followers. Although there are many great acharyas are there are many great gurus are there, but the very practical way that Srila Prabhupada explained, because he wanted his followers to actually come to the standard of proper Krishna consciousness. And the proper Krishna consciousness depends on how we engage our mind. The context here is that Prachina Barishat is hearing from Narada Muni about how different functions happen in this body. There are 10 senses, 5 working senses and 5 knowledge acquiring senses. And the driver of all these senses is the mind. So mind plays a very important, vital role. And I'm sure there are many people in this world who try to explain about mind, how to control the mind. But it's not so easy by mechanical means. You cannot control the mind just by, using some techniques. Sometimes people say that, you are very angry, then, don't immediately react. Count 10 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then your anger will come down. These things may have a little temporary effect, but in actuality, these things actually will not help. So, one has to understand how mind works, how senses work. Interestingly, when Krishna was describing about the plight of the living entities and how the living entities are his part and parcel, in the 15th chapter, 7th sloka, he says, Mamaivamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha manah shashtani indriyani prakrutistani karshati. So his material existence depends on those indriyas, of which mind is the most important one. And mind is the one which directs your plight towards material life or to the spiritual life. So, mind is a very vital element. So, we have to understand how mind works and how to engage the mind in Krishna's service. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, we have the sloka, Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhyo param manaha manasastu parabuddhi yo buddhi parabuddhi yo buddhi paratastu saha. He says that the order is mentioned very clearly. Indriyani paranyahur. The body is consisting of many indriyas. And above the indriyas, mind is there. And above the mind, intelligence is there. And above the intelligence, the Atma is situated. And Atma is protected by Paramatma. So this is what Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita. So this is the order. But in the present condition, in the conditioned life, the order is reversed. The order is that, Paramatma gives guidance to the Atma, and then from that right intelligence comes, and then the mind is controlled and the senses are controlled. Then one goes in a proper direction. But in a conditioned stage, we are so much accustomed to Indriya Tripti or the sense gratification. Indriyas pulling everything. Your mind is being pulled, your intelligence is being pulled, as a result of which even the Atma is degraded because of that. Just like, we also know how the mind works. Mind desires. When you desire something, intelligence which is very weak, it makes plans how to fulfill the desire of the mind. Suppose, let us say, we want to see a movie. Then, seeing a movie is a proposal given by the mind. But you know how intelligence functions, which is weaker in nature? Oh, if you have to see the movie tickets are available in so and so website. You can, go there, you can purchase it, take a taxi, a particular time, particular show. All these, tuck, 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 every plan is made by the intelligence. So that means intelligence has become subservient to the mind. What is intelligence supposed to do? A powerful intelligence or more, strengthy intelligence is supposed to do. Tell the mind that, why do you want to go to the movie? Why you want to unnecessarily waste 3-4 hours of time? Why don't you go to, a temple or a particular lecture that is going on? That bala is not there to the intelligence. Why that bala is not there? Because intelligence is not connected to the Supreme Lord. It is material intelligence. Material intelligence is subservient to the mind. And mind is a very dual role it plays. What is the dual role it plays? Sometimes mind becomes subservient to the senses. Sometimes mind drives the senses. This is dual role in degrading the living entity. Sense may go somewhere to the sense object, to meet the sense object. Then, mind comes and agitates it. Like, if there is a fire, and if air comes and adds to the fire, it becomes more and more. Similarly, mind is something like that. Air adding to the fire. Fire is what? Senses wanting to meet sense object is like fire, and mind gives bala to that. He adds to that whole activity. So it becomes more and more stronger. So that is how mind functions. You can say mind has become very restless and it has become subservient to the sense and sense objects, or you can say that mind only is driving it. Actually, mind only is driving it. Why mind drives? Because to drive a sense towards a particular sense object, there must be impression in the mind. Mind is repository of impressions. And because you have a certain impression, a certain experience, the mind reminds that, go and then meet that particular sense object, you get happiness. So that is how mind actually drives the senses. So in this example that is given by Krishna, he gives the example in likening this to a chariot. In the chariot, when the horses are, going hither and thither, all the horses may be tied, all their noses are tied with a rope, and the horses are compared to senses, and the rope is compared to mind, and the driver is compared to intelligence, and the traveler is compared to soul. So most of us, or practically all of us, we are traveling without a driver. That is what it is. Traveling without a driver means all are there except the driver. Or you have kept an enemy as your driver, let us say. You kept your enemy as your driver, he drives you crazy. Or if there is no driver, then also it is very dangerous, because the different horses are going in different directions and mind is helpless. There is no hold, and this mind has become subservient to the senses, and there is nobody to hold the reins, and it is going very fast, very, very dangerous. So that is why Bhagavad Gita is very important book for us, because Bhagavad Gita resembles this very situation. It is not allegorical, but it is really practical, that Arjuna wanted Krishna to be the driver. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He should actually be sitting on the chariot. But what Arjuna said to Krishna, you please drive my chariot. That means what? My dear Lord, you take control of my mind and senses, my life, my whole life. That means my mind and senses. Mayarpita mano buddhir. Krishna says that in the 8th chapter, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha mayarpita mano buddhir mame vaishyasi asamshayaha. Without doubt you will come to me if you maya arpita mano buddhir. If you surrender your intelligence and mind, or you it's a surrender of your intelligence and mind to Krishna, and Krishna will drive it. So Arjuna has done that. So mind is a material element. Although mind is a material element, it has a great hold on our activities because it is carrying all these previous old impressions. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's process of chanting Hare Krishna is erasing all those old impressions. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. Darpana marjanam means all the previous many sense gratificatory impressions that we have, all of them will be wiped away by chanting Hare Krishna. If one is properly chanting Hare Krishna, that is what is supposed to happen. All the old impressions will go. All the agitating sense gratificatory impressions must go. And in their place, ecstatic impressions of Krishna consciousness will come. How you feel so happy in the association of devotees, Kirtan, hearing about Krishna, glories of Krishna, taking prasadam, and the effect of prasadam are much powerful, I think, than many other. I'm sure each one of us have this experience, prasadam experience. Prasadam impression is very, very strong. Then, at least in the beginning, at least. It's very, very strong. So it's good. Prabhupada actually won devotees by prasadam. He made a lot of prasadam and distributed personally so many chapatis and sabji chapatis Prabhupada had prepared. And these so many of these Westerners, they would come and then eat. Sometimes they would eat even 20 chapatis. There were instances like that. Prabhupada would make. So these positive impressions will be deposited in the mind. Then mind becomes helpful for us to become Krishna conscious. But there are certain things that we have to observe very carefully. First of all, mind is not spiritual, or in the sense it is not an animate object. It is inanimate. Inanimate means it is jada padartha. It requires some driving force. Although it drives, but it requires a driving force. So, if the living entity is jada, a living entity does not exercise his control over mind. Through intelligence, mind takes over. So, the living entity has to exercise his control. Because I am superior. Yo buddhe paratastu saha. So, he is superior to the intelligence also. So, mind always requires an authority. To say it in a practical terms, for all of us, you give your mind to some superior authority, because mind takes dictations. That is the nature of mind. Mind has two functions, right? Sankalpa, vikalpa. Sankalpa means acceptance, rejection. Accepting, rejecting. Accepting, rejecting. Constantly accepting and rejecting. Arjuna says the nature of the mind in the 6th chapter. What is that? Pramadhi balavad drudam. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramadi balavad drudam. Tasyaham nigraham manye vayoreva sudushkaram. My dear Krishna, it is very, very powerful. It looks like mind is very powerful. I can probably stop a hurricane with my hands, but I cannot stop mind influencing me. In the 2nd chapter also Krishna says that what is that sloka? Even those who are very, very great souls also get, what is that? Etatobhi kaunteya purushasya vipashyataha indriyani indriyani pramadhini. So these, great souls also get affected by the mind. It is not that, it's such an easy thing to control the mind. So we have to offer our mind, or we have to surrender our mind to a superior authority. When you surrender your mind, it is not said that you have to surrender your intelligence. You have to surrender your mind. Surrender your intelligence is a slightly different process. What is that surrendering intelligence? When a superior authority explains, our intelligence should accept that understanding and follow that understanding. Intelligence should not be utilized too much for analysis. Although the nature of intelligence is analysis, analysis on the right thing is different from analysis on the wrong thing. For example, Prabhupada says, Krishna is God. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the statement made. The intelligence can function in this way. How Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead is one way of analyzing. Why Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead is another way of engaging the intelligence. You have no right to say why Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You can analyze how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead with the scriptural injunctions and the Acharya's explanations. Your intelligence can be used for such analysis, and that is called philosophical speculation. Prabhupada used in a positive way. Prabhupada used philosophical speculation. It is not, what is that? Is it speculation? Philosophical speculation, no? 13th chapter. Prabhupada used philosophical speculation. Philosophical speculation under a direction given by the scripture is okay. That is a proper usage of intelligence. But speculative intelligence is dangerous. Speculative intelligence is, you have no conclusion, like Mayavadis. They have no conclusion. They are always speculating. That intelligence is very dangerous. Like scientists. Scientists, they do not know the truth. They are observing, experimenting, theorizing. All these things they are trying to do. It is like, trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. That is why it is called scientific research. Already searched in the scripture. So you have to do research, scientific research. They don't say scientific search it is. It's research because it is already concluded in the scriptures. So these two elements are very important, of which mind is very important. As I said, mind has to be surrendered to someone. It is easy to control the mind when you have a superior. All of our problem is only one. We are not sufficiently accountable to anyone. That is the only problem. There is no other problem, actually speaking. We may be accountable naam ke vaste. Stamp. You write your script, you go to your authority, Prabhu, can you please stamp here? Thank you very much. Right? Many times we have done that. Or we present a situation in such a way that a favorable answer will come from our authority. Accept authority, but a favorable answer. Only present those aspects, highlight those aspects. So in this way, a brahmachari goes to the spiritual master and he says that, I am not able to control my senses. I think, I must become a grahastha. And then, the spiritual master says, all right, you become a grahastha. He comes out and says, there are so many women who need shelter. So that's why Guru Maharaj has asked me to marry. I have seen many, many such cases. Because he has to save his face. So this is not a right way of approaching a superior authority. You have a certain thing in your mind and you present things. Rather, mind has to be revealed openly and then accept the instruction. That is the best way. And some people do not want to reveal their mind. They wanted to just, reveal to a certain extent. not completely revealing. Or people want to reveal their mind everywhere and then get some contradictory instructions from many, many people. And then you finally you go nowhere because your mind is confused. Even though Arjuna was hearing from Krishna, one person, Arjuna himself expressed to Krishna, you are diverting or deviating my mind by many equivocal instructions, my dear Krishna. Have you heard that? Third chapter, first sloka. Arjuna is asking Krishna, my dear Krishna, you are confusing my mind. I am not able to understand whether you want me to give up work or accept work. Tell me for sure. Then Krishna had to confirm to him, no, what I am saying is that work in devotion is better than renunciation in knowledge. Many times he has to confirm. Or which is better? Impersonal path is better, devotional path is better. Then Krishna says, Klesho adhikarathastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gadir dukkam dehavabdir avapyate. Krishna has to confirm many times. So even hearing from one person is confusing. What to speak of hearing from too many people, taking too many instructions, finally you end up nowhere. Because your mind will not help you to come to a conclusion. Mind is very tricky. Mind always, it is like this. Even a small crack is there, the air will pass through that crack. So mind always waits for a chance to penetrate. Maybe I can read between the lines and exist. That is how the mind plays. So that is why one has to give one's mind to a superior guidance, superior authority. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was telling Prakashananda Saraswati, see, I went and revealed my mind to my spiritual master. First of all, my spiritual master told me that I am a fool, number one. Ishwar Puri told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he was a fool. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has accepted it. He did not try to analyze, am I a fool? Why are you saying I am a fool? I am not a fool. He has accepted. I have accepted that I am a fool. And then Ishwar Puri told him, you simply chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So he chanted Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Without any analysis, he simply accepted and chanted Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So he was saying this to Prakashananda Saraswati. So when I chanted Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I got so much ecstasy and happiness. I'm jumping, I'm not able to contain myself. I'm just chanting and dancing and chanting and dancing as if haunted by happiness. We have experience of being haunted by ghosts, but he's haunted by happiness. So maybe I thought that something wrong is happening, so I went back to my spiritual master and told him, my dear sir, I don't know what mantra you gave me, but when I am chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I am just feeling ecstatic and jumping in great happiness. Then my spiritual master told me, you are properly chanting Hare Krishna. That is why this effect is happening. In fact, this is supposed to happen to everyone. Those who are chanting Hare Krishna. If that is not happening, that means they are not properly chanting Hare Krishna. This is called revealing one's mind. Revealing one's mind. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has accepted the instruction of the spiritual master without analysis. And after applying the instruction, he is going back to the spiritual master and revealing his mind. This is what is happening. And after confirming from him, he is explaining that to Prakashananda Saraswati. Actually, the process is so simple if you don't speculate. Process is so simple. That is why it is said, be simple-minded. And Prabhupada made it much easier. It is also mysterious. What is the meaning of being simple-minded? Prabhupada said, simplicity means not duplicity. Khadam. Isn't it? Because you can speculate on what is simplicity. And Prabhupada put an end to all that speculation. He said, simplicity means no duplicity. What is no duplicity? Not something inside and something outside. That is called no duplicity. That is what is simplicity. Simplicity means whatever is being told, simply follow. So then, then our intelligence will not keep quiet. No. Intelligence will say, have you surrendered your intelligence? What is the use of your intelligence? Why do you have the intelligence? After all, God has given intelligence for you to utilize it properly. So what is the proper utilization of intelligence? How to follow the instructions is the mandate of the intelligence. How to follow the instructions. Not whether should I follow, should I not follow. If I follow, what is the advantage? What is the disadvantage? This also you can use your intelligence for. But how to follow instruction is the intelligence function. So we get confused with mind, intelligence trying to play with each other. Finally, they will play with our life. Mind and intelligence. So Acharyas made it very clear. What is that? If you want to control the mind, then the best way of controlling the mind is surrendering your mind to a qualified person. And what that qualified person will do, he will give you a mantra. Manah trayate mantraha. Don't take the mantra without a devotee, because you will not have that effect. Although manatrayate mantraha, mantra can control the mind, but mantra given by a spiritual personality is much more powerful than you simply chant the mantra by yourself. So that is why Shastra says that even though millions of times you may chant Hare Krishna without guidance of a devotee, Bahujanma kore yadi Shravana Kirtana Tabutana paye Krishna pade Premadhana. It will not generate Krishna Prema. If you go on chanting Hare Krishna, you may get purified, but to get Krishna Prema, you have to be administered a mantra by a spiritual master. What is that? Sampradaya vihenena mantrastu nishpalamata. Without sampradaya, you get mantra, it is nishpala. So mantra is required, but mantra has to be given in through parampara by a spiritual master. And spiritual master, if you fall under spiritual master's care, everything will be taken care. What is that? He will not leave any loose ends. He will give you Sankhya Purvaka Nama Gana Natibhi, that how you can chant any number of rounds you want, he will not say. Then he is not a proper spiritual master, to be honest. A proper spiritual master will tell you how to chant Hare Krishna, how many malas or how many times. All these specifications are also given. It is like this. A doctor will not simply give you medicine whenever you want to use the medicine, no problem. Will he say that? No. He will give you doses, number of times, how many days, everything he will specify and give you in that prescription. You simply have to follow the prescription. So similarly, when you go to a spiritual master and he will give you mantra, and we are very fortunate that we are falling under a great spiritual masters who are great Vaishnavas who are giving us the Maha Mantra, the mantra, the mantra Raja, the crest jewel of all the mantras, Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So every mantra has a certain effect on the mind. There are many mantras are there in the Vedic scriptures, but the highest effect of control and diverting the mind towards Krishna happens by chanting Hare Krishna mantra. And how many rounds to chant, how to chant, what to avoid, what not to, accept, what to accept, all these details. That is why Prabhupada, when he gave it very clearly. Every day you should chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Avoid 4 bad things: no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. And every day chant Hare Krishna. The do's and don'ts both are given at the time of initiation. We don't promise anything else at the time of initiation. Only these things we promise. Why? Prabhupada knew that by doing these things, everything else will be taken care of. There was Prabhupada's statement of 16 good rounds. Have you heard that? Have you read that? What is it, 16 good rounds? You know what is 16 good round? Many people have they have invented many ways of chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Prabhupada never gave different ways of chanting Hare Krishna. Prabhupada only said one thing. You hear what you are chanting. That's all. Nothing else. You pronounce properly, hear it, and then the touch is there through the mala. All three, the mind is trapped in these three. If you don't trap the mind in these three, what is that? Pronouncing, hearing, touching. You trap the mind in these three. If you don't trap it, it escapes this trap. It does the bhubhramana. Right? Every one of us have this experience of. And brings all the contamination of the world and comes back to you. So the best chanting is remembering Prabhupada, what Prabhupada said. That hear properly. That is why if you put on the tape of Prabhupada chanting, time to time, what would Prabhupada say? Sit properly. Sit properly. That means all your inattentiveness goes and then immediately reminded of, I should sit properly. And when you sit properly, obviously there are certain things happen naturally. Mind gets attentive. So the point is that surrender your mind to a spiritual authority, a spiritual master. He gives you a mantra, and along with the specifications, you apply your mind gets controlled. Don't try any extraneous ways to control the mind. It will not be controlled. So actual meaning of Savai Manah Krishna Padara Vandayor means, Prabhupada also is writing in this purport, although Ambarish Maharaj engaged all his senses in Krishna's service, the first thing that he has engaged is mind. Savai Manah Krishna Padara Vandayor, and later on, one by one, Vacham Sivaikunta Gunanu Varnane, Karau Harer Mandira Marjanadishu, Shrutim Chakarachita Sadkato Daye, Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane Drusau, Tadbhrutya Gatra Sparshenga Sangamam, Granam Cha Tatpada Saroja Saurabe, Srimattulasya Rasanam Dadarpite, Padau Hare Kshetra Padana Darshane, Sirau Hrishikesha Padabi Vandane, Kamam Cha Dasyena Tukama Kamaya, Tottama Sloka, Janashrayaratihi. But the first one is Savai Manah Krishna Padara Vandayor. And mind is such a thing. You let your mind go a little bit, it is like YouTube channel. You watch YouTube, there are, propositions for you. You originally wanted to watch something, but you got into this proposition, which is there in the next box. And you ticked on that. And there is something related to that will be displayed. And then you tick on that. And then something related to that will be displayed. Like that you will go on doing Brahmana, original purpose for which you wanted to watch something is gone. Right? Does that happen? We are expert in that, isn't it? Being lost in those things, isn't it? So similarly, mind is also like that. You let the mind, go a little bit. Then the mind goes, sometimes Purana Gana. You're passing by, and somebody has put on the tape, and then from the speaker that your childhood, Tere mere beech mein, something like that. I'm just giving an example. And then you transport yourself to that particular situation. I was 4-year-old boy. This, I raised with these songs. And then you get into that, loop of what all experiences you had at that, time and all that. This is how mind completely diverts you. So that is why one should not give chance to the mind to get deviated. So chanting 16 rounds is one thing externally, but inside one should always chant. Always one should chant inside as much as possible, consciously trying to bring the mind and chant Hare Krishna. Because that is the only process that is given to us. There is no other process that works. Because Arjuna himself is saying, it is very difficult. Chanchalami mana Krishna pramadi balavad dridham. It is very difficult. And Krishna is also confirming. What is he saying, Krishna? Yes, you're right. Asamshayam mahabaho manodurnigraham chalam. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena chagrushyate. But you have to practice controlling the mind. Abhyasa means practice. And what is the practice? Vairagyena chagrushyate. The practice is vairagya. Vairagya means withdrawing the mind from the sense objects and putting mind in remembrance of Krishna. So one of the things which is very helpful for mind control is good hearing, shravanam. When you hear very carefully and contemplate based on what you heard, mind becomes stronger, intelligence becomes stronger, then remembrance becomes stronger. Isn't it Krishna says in the second chapter, Dhyayate Vishayan Pumsha, Sangaste Shupajayate, Sangat Sanjayate Kama, Kamat Krodho Vijayate, Krodhat Bhavati Samoha, Samoha, Smriti Vibrama, Smriti Bhramshat, Buddhinasho, Buddhinashat, Pranashyati. You let your mind little bit slip away, then you cannot stop it. It is like, jumping off the cliff. Hey, why did I jump? Already you jumped. Why did I jump? You should ask before jumping. After jumping, there is nothing you can do. You have to fall and break your legs and hands. Similarly, the control is in the mind level. Control is at the dhyaya. Dhyaya means what you are contemplating. And your contemplation cannot be but material if you don't hear properly from Vaishnavas. So hearing should be stronger, then contemplation is stronger, then the mind does not go to unnecessary things. Those who are weak in hearing, they will have to struggle with the mind. Take it for granted. So this is how we have to, control the mind, because the mind is it is the driving force for everyone else, every other sense. So once the mind is strong, then everything else will be proper. So hearing attentively from right persons in a right way and contemplating based on that hearing will give you that power to remember Krishna. And so many things were discussed in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam by great personalities. All the discussions between great acharyas, great Vaishnavas, they give so much scope for the mind to contemplate if we hear from proper source. Instead of that, if we are simply applying our mind on useless, dirty things. Just this morning I was thinking, there are pockets of nectar and pockets of poison are there in this world. Whichever you touch, that is what you will get. You try to go to the pockets of poison. You keep consuming poison. That poison is nothing but negativity. There is so much negativity is there in this world. Everybody is talking about everybody else, criticizing, blaspheming, all these things. If you keep on hearing, like it is like Mother Kaikeyi heard from Manthara. She had a very wonderful, affectionate heart to begin with towards Lord Ramachandra. But slowly, her heart became polluted because she kept on hearing. She did not stop. She should have. Actually, she said, "You are speaking nonsense." She said that. But then slowly, her mind changed. And you know what? I just read. She started appreciating Manthara. Generally, the hunchbacked women are very envious and witchy. But you are one of the smartest hunchbacked women, she said. And I will decorate your hunchback with golden ornaments because you are giving good advice. Just see, someone as great as Kaikeyi her mind can be devastated. She can be influenced by the bad asatsanga. So that is why asatsanga is very dangerous thing. There are pockets of asatsanga are there. Everywhere there are poisonous, capsules are there. You try to touch them, you're finished. So one has to be very careful. Padam padam yat vipadam natesham. Protect yourself under good association. Like Raghunath Das Goswami, any negative about anybody he would hear, he would not think first of all whether it is true or not. He'll just shut his ears, run away from that place. That's all. So similarly, hearing bad about others, there are bad propaganda is there. So many people speak so many negative things. But subscribers are required now for such people. We have so many people, our subscribers are there. So that is why they are building more and more negativity. This is called Vayasa Tirtha. Vayasa Tirtha means pilgrimage of crows. In fact, according to Narada Muni, anything which is not glorifying Krishna, that is crow's pilgrimage only. He is so strict about it. So these are some thoughts about mind. Mind is a very mysterious element. Many people wrote the art of mind control, or so many people. There are people who wrote how to influence people, uh, how to win friends and influence people. But that person himself committed suicide. Why will you commit suicide? You have no friends, na? Then only you will commit suicide, isn't it? You wrote a book on how to win friends and influence people, but you finally committed suicide. Why? Because you have not understood what is this mind, how to control the mind, and all this. So it's easy to say many things, but unless the mind is surrendered to Krishna, surrendered to a spiritual personality, accept the instructions, hear from them very carefully, and then apply that, then mind will not control. So these are few things. Anyone has any questions or comments? Yes, bro.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you told about the revealing the mind.
Huh?
You told about revealing the mind.
Revealing
So
the
my
mind.
question is, whom should we reveal, and to what extent we should?
Whom should we reveal? Obviously, you should reveal your mind to your well-wishers. You won't reveal to enemy. When the thief comes, will you show your, go there, no, this is my treasury box, please open it. Will you do that? You will never do that. So don't reveal your mind to enemies or bad people. And who are the bad people? Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks about some bad people whom you should never reveal your mind to. Atheists, Mayavadis, Vishayis. Never reveal your mind to these people. Reveal your mind to those who are loving you, giving you time, giving you proper direction while they are being situated in a proper direction. To such people you can reveal your mind. To how much extent I should reveal? To the extent that you feel pinched in your life. Isn't it? In the sense, there may be many things which may be disturbing us. But whatever is disturbing the most, repeatedly coming and disturbing the most, we should reveal that first. That has to be attended to first. But I must say this also. Only when the mind is only when you have problems, don't reveal your mind. Make a practice of revealing your mind in various positive ways. Like, for example, how you're feeling very inspired by the association that you are in, or how you're feeling, like applying a particular instruction or particular thing that you've heard, and you feel like applying it. Reveal that. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed how to, how he was feeling while applying the instruction. So, in the process of revealing one's mind in applying the instructions, also there is some trouble that is coming which can also be revealed. So don't only go for, Prabhu, today is a very bad day for me. And then, he goes on, these are crybabies, We most of the time we hear, we get to hear crybabies. They always wanted a shoulder to cry on. They don't want solution. Lend your shoulder now for some time. I'll cry. Many crybabies are there. Don't be a crybaby. Reveal your mind in confidentiality, with confidentiality to a qualified devotee, but follow these things. Then we can actually easily come out of the problem. Is that
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
any other?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, how to get courage to reveal the mind?
How to get courage to reveal the mind?
Yes.
I'll tell you very honestly. If you want to get out of the problem, reveal the mind. There is no other way. If you really want to get out of the problem, you will reveal the mind. If you don't want to get out of the problem, you will not reveal the mind. It's another way of cheating oneself. Most of us, we misapply certain instructions. One devotee told me, Prabhu, why should we reveal the mind? We have applied our, process of Krishna consciousness. It will purify now one day. Huh? Like Prabhupada gave an example. You put iron in the fire. Then after some time, iron will become fire. How much centigrade fire, how much distance you put the iron is important, na sir? Simply iron fire, it will not, it's like a Bhanda candle program. You know what is Bhanda candle program? One spiritual master told his disciple, Sunday feast is coming, so you make sweet rice. So then this fellow took a big Bhanda and put rice, milk, sugar, and he hung it to the ceiling. And down he put one little candle. So the spiritual master is asking, is the sweet rice ready? रेडी हो रहा है गुरु महाराज जी, रेडी हो रहा है. कहां होता है? उधर तो उतना भांडा है. कितना दिया है तुम? Little. Similarly, our application of Krishna consciousness is also like that. Bhanda candle program. You must reveal your mind. You cannot say that, the process of Krishna consciousness is going on, Prabhu. It's a purifying process. It will take its own time. Yeah, it will take its own time. So we have this cheating mentality. That is why we don't reveal. We don't want to come out of the problem. It may be a little harsh, but this is actually exposing our cheating mentality. Ask yourself very strongly, do I want to come out of this or not? Ask 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times if it is required. If I want to get out of this, I must go to a qualified person. The stinky smell in the room will only go when you open the window, expose the window, the sun. Otherwise, it will not go. Maybe I should put some perfume. Then it is much more awkward. The Durgandha and Sugandha mix is another unbearable Durgandha it is. Have you experienced that? I have many times experienced. To simply avoid the Durgandha, you don't actually remove the rat which is spoiled there, which is dead there. You don't remove the rat, but you simply put some, some scent or something like that. Perfume. It is very, very nasty. It is. So I must expose my heart to the sun. Does that make some sense to you? Does it make some sense to you?
Yes, Guru. Thank you, Guru.
Give it to Radhisham Prabhu. Okay, Srinivas Adipriya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam. Thank you for the wonderful class with many practical examples. So I have a question from the shloka. The 11th attendant, which is the mind, you said that it's the leader of both the 5 knowledge acquiring and the working senses. So for the working senses, as you explained, based on the samskara, the particular type of action is determined by the mind. How is it the leader in terms of acquisition also? That is mentioned in the shloka. It is the leader in terms of acquisition of knowledge also. Because the knowledge acquiring is happening through the senses from the outer world. Does the mind come later for the processing, or its initial stage only does filter the inputs?
Mind is an agent which gives remembrance of the previous experience. There is a natural attraction between the indriya or the sense and the sense object, and when the senses are going near the sense object, the previous impressions are enacted by the mind, which like and then they get glued onto each other. The gluing onto each other is enhanced by the mind. There is a natural attraction, but that is enhanced by the mind because of the previous impressions which are stored in the mind.
Okay, sure. Thanks. Makes sense. Thanks.
Oh, there is a Mataji. Okay, give it to Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so much for nice discourse. Prabhuji, I have a question. To exercise mind, thoughts play a crucial role because we think so much from time to time. So for that to be in a right way, we need to do hearing. And for a beginners, such as for like me, what kind of hearing should we do? Like, should we focus on Leela or Tattva or philosophy? And how much amount of hearing should be required day to day?
I can't, give exact time because, I don't know your situation and your practical, engagements that you have. You may be studying or working, I don't know. But
Studying, Prabhuji.
okay, you have to study also your, subjects. So I would say that, a regulated, whatever amount of hearing you are hearing, it should be regulated. Don't sporadically hear.
I do that sometimes, Prabhuji. I hear so much, and next day I will not hear.
Whenever you feel like doing it sporadically, think of eating sporadically. You will get the solution, right? 4 days I will fast. 5th day I will do bhima. Like bhima I will eat. Will you do that? We don't do that. We do that morning this much, afternoon this much, evening this much, whatever it is. There is a regulated eating so that the body function will properly go. Similarly, our consciousness also go through properly when there is a regulated hearing. Hearing constitutes two. One is hearing from a person who is inspiring you regularly, by hearing from whom you feel inspired, and studying Srila Prabhupada books. And as far as studying Srila Prabhupada books are concerned, general recommendation that we give, we have gone through that, is first complete all the small books, then the medium books, and then regularly study Bhagavad Gita, and after studying Bhagavad Gita come to Bhagavatam. So it takes some years to do that. Don't read like a novel reader. You understand? Not novel reader. Novel reader is good. Novel reader means, reading like a storybook. Don't read like that. Read, contemplate, read, contemplate, read, contemplate. As if that person is speaking to me. Prabhupada is personally speaking to me through his purports.
Another question I have, Prabhuji. You said that if you take initiation, then you'll get a guru, then you'll get a prescribed number of rounds and what to do or don'ts. For people who are not
Initiation is not, what do you mean by initiation?
Giving a mantra. A guru is giving a mantra.
Guru
to
is
his
giving a
disciple.
mantra.
Yeah.
That is initiation. You're right. But the initiation has to happen in a very, very, personal way. In the sense, we have received the mantra from Prabhupada, right? All of us are chanting Hare Krishna mantra. In the process of chanting Hare Krishna mantra, we also get purified. We develop some attraction for Krishna consciousness, and we get into some good association. In that good association, whichever association is most inspiring, we go to that person and then ask a question: how can I make further progress in Krishna consciousness? Then they will give you a stepwise process. Okay, chant 16 rounds for this much time. Then they may introduce you to, even a higher and higher devotees, and they will also bless you, and then, take commitment from you. It happens in a very natural sort of manner. Many people take initiation like, तुमको हो गया ना, मेरे को अभी तक नहीं हुआ. इन लोग ब्लॉक करके रखे हैं हमारे इनिशिएशन रिकमेंडेशन. इट्स लाइक शादी हो गया ना, शादी तुम्हारा हो गया ना, मेरा भी हो गया, अभी नहीं, मेरा नहीं हुआ अभी. So you feel, by the peer pressure you want to take initiation, or for this or that, that is not that is not much helpful. You feel the need to grow in spiritual life, and you found a good association, then naturally that process takes you forward and forward and forward.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Give it to Radhesham Prabhu for the comments.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Vedanta Prabhu, for the very, very beautiful examples you gave in understanding the nature of the mind, and how one should be very careful in dealing with the mind and not let it get carried away. Very beautiful examples you gave. I had one question. The word dhyayato vishayan pumsaha, the dharana, dhyana, samadhi, these are all activities of the intelligence. Because vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha guru nandana. Also he says, nasti buddhi rayuktasya nachayuktasya bhavana nacha bhaveta shantir ashantasya kuta sukham. So generally, whenever Krishna talks, it first brings the intelligence activity, followed by what happens to mind. Ashanti is in the mind, but the yukti or the vyavasayatmika buddhi, these things are also is nateshu ramate buddha, he says. So buddhiman, a buddhiman person doesn't dwell on these things, he says. So when I hear a sound vibration, like today you gave a beautiful class, when it goes through the ear, the first person who encounters it is my intelligence, which processes the information and then analyzes it, contemplates, reflects, and then digests it. And then comes, of course, the mind has its likes and dislikes, favorites and not so favorites and all. So I have heard that intelligence is like a husband, mind is like a wife, senses are like children. Of course, it is true that intelligence being the purpose as next door neighbor of mind, intelligence sometimes can become kubuddhi by like you told the example of Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi, Dhritarashtra, they are all examples of kubuddhi, and Vibhishan is subuddhi, Vibhishan or Prahalad and all. So when there is a subuddhi, when the knowledge is heard and processed, then the subuddhi subdues the mind and senses. So if you can tell us a little bit about the function of intelligence in our spiritual life, just as you told many nice things about the mind, so that when we say Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Koriya Kya, I heard Chitta is actually subconscious mind. Guru's Vani should be ringing in our subconscious mind. So Arana Kori Homane Asha, he says, then don't allow the mind to flow, he says. So my understanding was, for anything to enter my heart, Chitta, my intelligence should be first convinced. So, for example, you were saying about surrendering to an authority in the beginning. Say, generally what the living entity does is say, I have 10 ropes for my horses. I hear from you, I give 1 rope to you. And 9 ropes I keep in my control. And I want to check whether, your guidance is good enough for me. And then I give two ropes. And then when I give all 10 ropes, then Sarvadharman Paridya happens. I give my life to you, I give my mind and buddhi to you. So in that phase of life, many of these students also, because they have been spoiled by the modern day style of education in the schools and colleges, the surrender is one thing which doesn't come very quickly, especially surrendering of the intelligence doesn't come. And the mind goes by likes and dislikes. So prasadam is very nice, kirtan is very nice, darshan is nice, and association is nice, emotional shelter is nice and all that. So Therefore, sometimes when we tell about surrender, immediately the intelligence, why should I surrender? They become more reserved sometimes. So in that connection, I want to know from you, you told about the mind. You can say a little bit about intelligence also.
Okay. Thank you. Very, very wonderful question. Very practical question. You know, many, places you said bringing different quotations, but I would, no, I would approach this in a simple manner. That is, intelligence is of two types. One is given by Krishna. The other intelligence is being the subservient of the mind. Only these two intelligence is what I can think of. And once it is supplied by Krishna. So how the intelligence is supplied by Krishna? When you hear from a superior authority whom you have accepted that this is my well-wisher, and hear from him, then you hear that person and your intelligence is, swelled by that instruction given by that person. That buddhi functions, and then we take certain decisions based on what we hear from a superior authority. Failing which, the other available option for us is apply the intelligence by sense perception. My feeling of what is good, what is not good, is my previous repository of my sense perception. Like you said, you know I hear from 10 people and then I give one rope. You probably may not be giving rope. You're actually, what you're trying to do is that a kind of a gamble is what I would say. It's a kind of a gamble, because if you have given one rope and kept 9 ropes, whether you're pulling those 10th rope also, it's not actually you're giving. And probably we may not giving that one rope and then give that person enough ability to pull all the 9 ropes also. It is slightly confusing to me. I mean, that example is slightly confusing to me. What I understand very simply is that these two types of intelligence is what I understand. One is coming from sense perception, which has become surrendered soul to the mind. The intelligence, as I just gave an example, you want to watch a movie, is the function of the mind. How to watch a movie, where to buy tickets, how to travel by taxi or by this, all of this immediately gets arranged within the, and that is a function of intelligence, a surrendered intelligence to the, attracted mind, to the, to the sense objects. And the other intelligence is coming from the superior authority. So when you get an intelligence from superior authority, there are two things that happens. As you said, why should I? There is one, why should I? How should I? How should I, if we say, then we are aligning our intelligence to the intelligence given by the superior authority. Why should I takes us through the filters of sense perception. Wherever there is favorability is there, I make it pass through that filter. Wherever some unfavorable thing is there, I block it there. So that is how we use that intelligence in that way. So now the question is that, what does it mean really surrendering intelligence? Actually, we are not surrendering intelligence. We are surrendering our mind. We are accepting intelligence. We have no intelligence to begin with, to be honest. Who am I? I am such a fool that I do not know that I am a fool. That is my present state of consciousness. This is how Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They said, my dear Lord, we are so foolish that when people around us come to us and praise us that we are very great scholarly people, devoted people, and we think that it is true. There is some truth in it. And that is why we want to come out of that illusion. Actually, the fact of the matter is, I don't know who I am. So, in a conditioned state, this too much analysis is little risky, is what I feel.
In the 4.34 Prabhupada says, absurd inquiry and blind following both are condemned, he says. Actually, what you said is very true with Sanatan approaching Lord Chaitanya. But now religion has seen so much corruption in this day and age. What to speak of multiple organizations popping up, even within the fold of Vaishnava organizations also. Somebody is coming to a leadership and then some corruption is found, some fall down is found and things like that. So naturally, surrender is not, and trust development and surrender is not something which will come like this. Now,
No, I'm not saying that it should come like that. What I'm saying is that gradually trust develops.
that word gradually used, that's what I precisely wanted to say. Trust is something which
Trust is always developed gradually.
over
It
a
is not
period of-
instantaneous.
and it is also not like 1 or 0.
It's not 1 or 0.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to fall to the victim of analysis.
Yeah.
You know what happens in this? You know, I'm approaching with a certain,
Mindset.
samshayatma vinashyati mindset.
But Arjuna was in a similar situation in the beginning.
But Arjuna has surrendered. I am a soul surrendered
No,
to
that
you.
is 2.7.
2.8 I'm talking about.
No, 2.7 was
2.7 is understood that, he has surrendered. But in 2.8 he says that except you, my dear Lord, there is nothing that is going to actually help me to come out of this.
that is actually coming to the stage of full trust. But prior to that, if you see, he presents his dharmic intelligence.
Yes.
Actually, even this Puranjani, the lady, she is actually dharmic intelligence. She is not adharmic. Even in the 17th chapter of the Gita, Lord Krishna says, Arjuna is asking, there are people who are asuric, there are people who are daivi sampat, there is in between one more category. And the category is people who don't have faith in Krishna, but who also have dharmic intelligence. And who actually are still in the process of confirming that it is worthy to surrender to Krishna. And then once they get that faith, then they will surrender. And because they are in tamasic, rajasic, different gunas he is explaining.
And in a present society, I very much doubt anybody has dharmic intelligence. We know very well what intelligence we have. It is avishuddha buddhaya. It is completely, this intelligence is completely spoiled by sense, overtaken by sense gratification. And different conceptions have been put into our brain. To begin with, our educational system has completely put a different kinds of intelligence. There is no scope for this person, that there is a possibility of surrendering to a superior authority is not injected at all. We always first begin with, be very careful. Be very careful. Be very careful. पूरा जिंदगी चलेगा be very careful में. Then every you rather you give benefit of doubt. I'm not saying because you don't have power to surrender fully. Even if you want to surrender, you are only doing experimentation. You don't have power to surrender blindly. Because there is a natural system that is built in, that is Paramatma. So my understanding is that those who surrender by taking into consideration of the intuition that is coming from Paramatma, they will always be protected. There are other people who also surrender because of convenience, because of peer pressure, because of name fame in the society. These are the factor to surrender, express surrender, actually not surrender but express surrender, so-called surrender. They will be eventually cheated, my feeling is. But those who are actually depending on Paramatma gives a go-ahead signal. And I'm not saying blindly Paramatma, because you don't know to begin with whether it is coming from Paramatma or again the same fertile mind. So it is time-tested, systematical growth. So one has to, in my opinion, one should not rush in this process. That is the first thing. It should be time-tested. And after time tested, you see your own experience. When we are actually practicing Krishna consciousness, as it is said, it is pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam. That you know for yourself when you are eating food, Shuddha, what is that? Tushti Pushti Kshudapa. Tushti Pushti Kshudapa. Recently, I was, hearing from Prabhupada in one of the Kunti Maran lecture. Nobody has to tell you whether you are in the material world or spiritual world. Spiritual world. If you have envy, you are in the material world. If you are freed from envy, you are in the spiritual world. That's all. Nobody has to give you a certificate whether you have. Similarly, in other place, Prabhupada said, if your kama and lobha is decreasing, you are progressing. If it is increasing, you are not progressing. So we have that common sense given by acharyas, and we see in our own heart in whose association these things are naturally reducing and we are moving towards Krishna. Then that surrender is only a formal, acceptance of the spiritual master, the disciple. Just like Prabhupada took 11 years to take initiation, but he has accepted it. There is something that happened very clearly. It's an indication of heart. I'm not saying we can imitate Prabhupada. For us, it may take 11 years probably to understand that this is the right person for me to surrender. But take your own time. But rushing is very dangerous. Two things. Rushing is dangerous. Analysis forever is also dangerous. Paralysis. Analysis is paralysis. You're right. Too much analysis is paralysis. You're right. I think we have to find a middle way. We always have this conversation goes on between us for a long, long time. And probably it will go on also. And that is the best thing that can happen to others, because they'll find a middle way between us. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for that comment. Thank you all very much. Sorry it got delayed. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.